again, and welcome to what is now the 5th instalment in this journey through 1 year in my garden, a year gardening. You join us now after we've just had Storm Ciara, which has caused a little bit of damage, which we're going to look at rectifying today. And also I'm looking at planting out the roses that I started off in the first episode, and one or two other fun little jobs in the garden. So we'll crack on with that without any further ado. Well, as you can see, the weather has played a little bit of havoc on the garden and has blown a great big gap in the reed screening on this side of the trellising. That divides the flower garden from the working vegetable garden. So that's a job I'm going to have to do. I'm going to obviously have to replace the broken section here, which means I'm going to replace this as well with something different. Does mean that on this side I'm going to have to cut the reed fencing out because there's honeysuckle and clematis growing through it, and I don't really want to damage those plants. So let's see what we can do with that. Well, that's the damaged reed taken down from this side, so all of this area along here has been completely cleared off. What I've now got to do is I've got to work on removing this side, which is slightly more difficult because we've got the honeysuckle and things actually growing through it. So let's have a look at how I'm going to do that. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm actually going to cut around where some of the plant is coming through the back of this. Then I'm going to lift off the wood that is holding it up and then roll it up, and hopefully that can be done in just a few minutes. So it's going to take a pair of secateurs here, and where we've got plant coming through, we've just got to cut that back and release the plant. And I will do this all the way along, but I think it's going to take too long to do it all on film like this. So now we've taken down all of the damaged reed fencing, I wanted to find something that was going to be stronger, which would give support to the climbing plants and look quite effective straight off. And in the local shop I found this artificial ivy leaf hedging, which is built on a plastic mesh, which should give the strength and flexibility to withstand any more winds that come through and also look quite good. So now's the time to start putting that up and see what it looks like. I've now unpacked the screen, and first thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to pop some small tacks onto the frame just to hold it in place, make sure it's all in the right place before I actually fix it with some wooden support to keep it there on a permanent basis. I did measure up the space that I've got before I went and purchased the screening, so I know it should fit almost exactly, which is a good thing. So I'm just going to pop in a few nails, very small ones, to just hold the edge in place so that I know that I'll have the fencing screen in a good position. I'll push that one in too far. Let's put another one in there. Just want it sticking out a little bit, just so that I've got a bit of a guide. Pop that down there, and let's offer this up and see how this is going to go. So I actually have a small solar light there, so I can use that, and then just get this to hold on very, very loosely. Pop it over these tacks that I've been putting in here, and already we can see this is actually going to do quite a reasonable job. So as you can see, this is going to do a reasonable job of screening out the working garden from the flower garden, and I will just have to make some fixings along the bottom, but lengthwise it's all really, really good. So I'm going to crack on with that now. Well, I must say I'm quite pleasantly pleased with the way that has come out, and quite inexpensive as well. The 2 rolls came to about £40, and they have made a good impact, and it does give me plenty of support for the clematis and the honeysuckle to climb up and cling to. So I'm going to be rather pleased with that, and the screening job it makes at the bottom of the garden is quite pleasant to see. Well, I've come back indoors for a minute just to show you where I do the editing of the videos and put everything together, and also just to review some of the comments that have come back through from yourselves. And one very important one, Gary, you're in Rochdale, and yes, what I'm doing is very early, but it's exceptionally early for where you live. Now, where I am in Tunbridge in Kent, we're about 51 degrees on the parallel. You are probably nearer 54 degrees. You have a lot different daylight hours and a lot different temperature to where I am, and so therefore you're going to be looking probably 3 to 4 weeks later than I am at doing the same sort of jobs. So where I'm putting out my early plants under glass, you would be doing that probably in March, whereas I can do it now, and that makes a lot of difference. I'd also like to thank you for the lovely comments that I've received from so many of you to say how you're enjoying the videos. It's really greatly appreciated. Now, I've been working today on the plan for a wall which I'm going to have on the side of the garden. I'm just working out the quantities because I'm actually going to make the blocks for this, and it's going to be like an old crumbling down wall which I can grow some ivies and some succulents and various other bits and pieces on, and I'll show you how that develops as we go forward. It's time now to get back out in the garden and carry on with some more work. I've now completed the layout for the roses in the garden. So all I've done is I've placed the pots out so that I can see where I want things to be. In the larger pots we've got the 4 small standard roses, and then to the back we've got the higher growing roses, medium growing and the lower growing roses, which should give us a nice beautiful summer colour. I'm really looking forward to that. Now, as I plant these, at the base of each pot I'll be putting 1 handful of a special rose fertiliser, popping that in there to give the plants the best start that I can. And I'm sure once I've got those planted shortly, they are going to look absolutely stunning. So time to get planting. There we go, 12 roses all planted, ready to come up and give us a lovely summer display. And they're going to look so lovely because what we've got in here already is we've got some forget-me-nots and we've got some native English geraniums, and over the back here we've got some lavender planted, so the whole thing should come together really lovely. Can't wait to watch these babies grow. Well, I'm back in the greenhouse. We've got the roses planted outside, and just to let you know that the most important thing, even though your soil may well be damp or wet, they do need watering in. And I've been out with the watering can and I've just made sure they're all really happy. But what we're going to do in here now is I'm going to plant a couple of bulbs. I've got some lilies which are going to go into a pot on the front doorstep, really give us a nice bit of colour in the summer. I've already put my paper inside the pot because I'm going to be transplanting these into a larger pot later on, so therefore it's very, very important to have the removal system in place, because you can just lift them out, doesn't disturb the roots, repot them, happy days. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take a fine compost mix, and I've made this a fairly light and easy draining compost mix in order for the bulbs to grow well. Got a pack, there are 4 bulbs that have already started rooting and sprouting in the pack, so I'm just going to pop these inside here. I'm planting them fairly deep, around about 4, maybe even 5 inches into the pot. We get those down there, and then all I'm going to do is I'm going to bring that over the top, gently fern that down. Now, they have been rooting quite well just in some wood chippings in the bag that I purchased these in, but I want them to have a very, very happy home. So I'm planting those out nice and comfortably with a good 3 to 4 inches of compost over the top of the bulb, so they're going to get a nice firm growth. So we're just going to mark those up. These are Asiatic lilies, and so we're going to write their name on the side of that, and then I'll give those a nice water. When I water the rest of the plants later on today, I'm not going to make a special watering on this one. I'm just going to water all of my plants at the same time. Now, the next thing I'm going to do today is plant some seeds for the baskets and the pots that we have in the garden. What I have here is some nasturtium seeds. Lovely flowers, and they're edible flowers, and they look lovely on your salads and everything else, and it's wonderful to grow. They're a large seed, so I've got a large tray here, and I'm going to plant them individually, probably about 10 or 12 seeds here. So I'm going to pop these in one at a time, give them a nice little bit of area of growth as well. So we're going to pop those in maybe about 3 to 4 inches apart to let them grow nicely, and they will love this. They really, really will. So there we go. Giving them a good bit of space in between each seed. Oh, there's another one there, and then there. So all we now need to do is to cover the seeds with around about a centimetre of compost over the top. Bring them down nice and firm there. And look at that, that's a lovely tray. So what we're going to do now is we're going to keep these under glass till they germinate, and just mark up so that we know what's in the tray. Nasturtium, pop that into the back of the tray, put that on the side, and we'll add that to our list of things that need watering later on. Well, here we are back in the utility garden. Now, when I first put all of this system up here, I used one of these old storage boxes as a water butt. It's had its day. Unfortunately, it's leaking and it's not holding water. So what I've done is I've been and bought a new water butt. But the thing is, I've now got to measure it to fit into here. So I've got to take a measurement to the centre of the pipe here, which is 6 centimetres from the wall to the centre. And I've got to drill a hole in the top of the water butt. So I need to now sort that out, find my cutting disc and fit the new water butt. I'm not going to do that today because the light is fading on us, but I'm going to do that over the next week, and then I'll show you the end product. But I will show you the water butt. It's one of these here. It's a 100 litre water butt. It has a tap fitting with it. Well worth buying. £15 from the local store, and I'm very, very happy with that. And that is going to be fitted in here, and we'll visit that in the next episode. Well, we've covered a lot today. We've done a fair bit, and I'm sure that you, like me, are looking forward to having a little break. So I'm going to go and grab my coat, going to pop round to the Cardinals and have a pint of beer, and then we'll sum up what we've done today and maybe what we're going to do in the future. I don't know yet. Let's go for a little walk. Well, that's been quite an exciting day. We've done loads today. Firstly, we've taken down the damaged fencing from the storm and we've replaced it. We've been and put out the new rose garden, and that is going to be stunning in the summer, and I'm really, really looking forward to that. We've been and measured up for the new water butt, which is going into the utility garden, and we've been doing some work in the greenhouse, a couple of new plants gone in, and I think you'll agree with me that the last 15 minutes have been a really, really enjoyable time. I'd like to thank you for being with me again today, and that's the end of episode 5. There's only one thing for me to do now, and as I'm in my local pub saying goodbye to you today, in the Cardinals area in Tunbridge, one of the nicest pints of Harvey's you're ever going to have. Cheers.